So I've been playing StormWorks for a few weeks now, and I've just pretty much finished this creation. It's taken me about 2 weeks, quite a few hours being put into this. Um, so it's a rescue ship with a helicopter and a small launch and the crane made by Rich. I'll give you a quick tour and show what everything is. Okay, so the helicopter at the back is connected to the floor at the moment, so as the ship moves around it's not going to slide around. Got a diesel fuel for the intake fuel, so it can fill up from the tank from the ship itself. On the other side I've added a jet fuel for any jet turbine helicopters that I might make and put on. And then we've got the jet fuel tank, 7,000 litres worth of fuel in there. We've got the main tank of the ship, which is diesel, which has got 162,000 litres, so quite a big tank in there. We've got a little winch here, so if a helicopter doesn't quite connect to those and fall short, it can connect up the winch and pull it up into position, rather than trying to fight it in rough seas and heavy winds. Just put it down anywhere and then pull it in. And these are the controls for that diesel fuel pump there, and these are the ones for the jet fuel. I have the launch. I've only just put this on. I'll show you this in a minute when we get out to sea. Go up to the bridge. These doors are connected directly to the battery, so they're working even though the breakers aren't on the ships, because otherwise the doors slide open and shut. So if I sit in the pilot seat, turn the breakers on, turn some lights on. I've got ship lights, engine lights, cabin lights. So here's the bridge. Over here I have all the engine data. Over there's a water cannon on the front. You can see it there for firefighting. And that's controlled over there. Bilge pumps, so if we have any problems or any leaks or any water gets in, we can pump that out. Camera zoom there on the crane. Different gears and a reverse. Fuel pumps. Engine starter, another fuel gauge, throttle, clutch, foghorn. I've got the map screen there, and over in this side, we've got at the front, great big anchor there. This you can lower. It's got a camera on it just so you can see where it's up. Turn the anchor on and off, and then there's the cable length, so you know how much cable you let out in meters. Also over here we have the depth in meters, so we know how much cable we need to let out, speed in knots, wind speed, and the fuel. On the back here I have a winch at the back of the ship. It's bobbing around in the water, but you control the winch, so if you're towing something you can keep an eye on it, winch it in or winch it out if you need be. Down in here we've got a few seats for passengers, some Arctic gear for when we go up to the Arctic, medi beds, and a larger map, so it's just there for decoration really. Down onto the deck again, I've added another door here. The reason these doors shut automatically is just in case the water comes in, it doesn't go down and flood any compartments. That's for bigger doors so you can get crates in and so on. Firefighting gear, more Arctic gear, deep sea and scuba. In here I've added some beds and so on, but this is also the way into the hull. If you need to go and have a look at anything. So I've got bow thrusters left and right here, done with a an engine, and then there's the logic system, so I could put the constant signal in. Bilge pumps sat here. This room, not finished with. I'm potentially having maybe a mini sub in here that you can launch through the floor and then pump all the water out. Not really sure what I'm doing with that yet. I'm going to have a look at that later. 2 huge batteries. That's the diesel fuel tank there. More bilge pumps. This is the jet fuel tank just sat in there. 4 large engines and the reverse gears and the second gearboxes. There's some generators, all the piping for the exhaust system, fuel pumps, switches, and all of that goes across for the air intakes. They're further up the ship now so they don't get flooded, and then all the cooling systems in and out there using seawater. Some more logic systems, and that you can see the pipes go in, and they go right up to the top, so they're quite high above the ship. And that's where I get the feed for the water cannon directly from the seawater there. These ladders are a pain. That's better. So back onto the deck. I'll take the ship out and get it out and do the launch. So just give it a little bit of throttle, start the pumps. Engines 1 and 2, I've separated the engines so you can actually run it with 2 engines if you want. You do lose a bit of speed, but it's much more fuel efficient. Throttle up. So with all 4 engines running in the top gear, it does about 26 knots, but it burns through the fuel quite quickly. We can drop it down a gear. Fuel efficiency is much better, but we drop down to 14 knots, 12 knots now. So if I just, let's speed up a bit and get out. It's quite stable as well. Pull it full round, doesn't list too much. And then also, I bring it to a stop. Clutch in to turn the fuel pumps on. The bow thrusters, they're a little bit more powerful. They tend to be quite volatile. If I need to do a tight turn, there we go. I mean, we are sitting really low. We are full of fuel, jet fuel and diesel, so it's maximum weight at the moment. It'll raise up about a meter when some of the tanks are half empty. Water can. It's quite powerful. So if I go back down, so this is how I launch this. It's turn the winch up. Spin this round. Probably not the most efficient way of doing it, but and then we can lower the winches. Just unlock it like that, drop it in the water. This is actually all electric. It has some solar panels that they would charge it over time, but they're not very efficient. It has a connector, and it has a connector at the top so it can charge off the ship back. Oops. It's quite fast. It's pretty stable as well, actually. And then here is the helicopter. So, put some power in, get some throttle up, turn on lights. So as you can see, it's actually connected to the ship. Disconnect it like so. And then you can take off. We've also got a crane on there as well. I haven't used it properly. But if I go back to the dock and I'll just show you the actual on the ship itself. Let me just put this down so it's a bit twitchy on the old rudder. Okay. So the ship itself can just about make it out there. So here it is. So you've got the data system. So every switch and every lever obviously has to connect to the corresponding thing. So it becomes quite a mess. So I basically do a bit at a time so I don't get lost. So all the throttle controls go down to the engines. All the engine data comes up to the control panels there. And then we got all the switches for that's just to turn and release the launch, fuel, engines, rudder, and everything, as you can see. And then with the electrics itself, there's two systems. One goes through a breaker, and like I said, the doors are all connected to the battery all the time. And then with the helicopter, pretty much the same system. All my switches and everything, they're to the corresponding piece of equipment, and all the control systems. Looks a bit of a mess, but it's pretty easy to follow once you get started. I have started working on another helicopter already, the jet one, hence the jet fuel. So with the cargo ramp, I need to do something about the fuel tanks. All the control systems in there. It's coming along, so it's jet fuel rather than diesel. But that's work in progress, so that's where I am at the moment. Cheers for watching.